happen, and I guess my wife bribed them with a new toy if they were to go on the field and stay out there for that. So I appreciate that. But it was just a day of up and down, and the crowd's reaction, and just the reaction from the other players. The White Sox. I got to thank Rick Renneria and his staff for being so accommodating for what happened, and it's a one-run ball game, and me, the competitor, I want to respect the game and let it play out the way it is, but had an opportunity to do that, and I didn't think that was going to be a possibility ever, and I'm glad I took that opportunity. Yeah, just a roller coaster of a day, and trying to have the good at bats. After those warm ovations from the crowd, and it just I don't know who wrote up this day, but actually I know who wrote up the day, but definitely very thankful for it.
Jim? Joe, with the double in your last at bat, winning the game, being able to catch, having the final scene play out the way it did, was that the ideal ending for you? And if that was the ideal ending, will that factor into your decision whether to keep playing?
Yeah, it's like I said, I got a lot of emotions going on right now, and today I don't think could have went any better to script. But going into this, kind of how this all came about was there were some rumblings about a month ago. I think my dad had mentioned something to my wife Maddie. Didn't want to talk to me about it. Maybe if there was an opportunity, given where we were at as a team, to go out there and catch one pitch. That I know that would have meant a lot to him. And Maddie kind of sat on it a little bit, and then a few people throughout the organization were kind of mentioning something like that, and then not until Friday, Mike Herman caught me right when I walked in and was trying to get me to maybe do something like that, and I was like, no, Mike, I can't do it. And then Nate Dahman, our bullpen catcher, we got one of my closest friends, and Derek Shelton pulled me into Hot Rod's office and asked about the possibility of making it happen, and and hearing what they had to say and how much it would mean. I think they knew how much it would mean to me, but not to other people. I think they convinced me that it'd be okay. So that was Friday before the doubleheader, and after that conversation, I just had to go find a room and just be alone to start welling up and trying to hold those emotions in. So I think you guys saw how important and how important that moment was for me, just to be able to have a chance to put the gear back on. And I feel like I'm talking in circles, but just given where we're at as a team and having that opportunity, I just couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, Joe, you actually answered about 95% of what I was going to ask you, but I'll throw something else out there. I imagine you probably had to run that by the White Sox. Was there some sort of tacit agreement that whoever was at the plate wasn't going to swing when you were back there?
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that was my first response. I said, my wife might kill me if I go back there and they swing. But and that's the thing. And she was so behind it, and I'm so thankful for that. But that was my first question to Derek and Nate. I said, if I'm going to do this, it's got to be, they got to be on board and take, because that's a risk that I made that decision, 5 years ago, and I wanted to honor that, for my family and myself too. But like I said, I can't thank Rick Renneria and the Chicago White Sox for agreeing to that and let me have that moment. It meant a lot.
When you and Matty B embraced on the mound, what did you guys say to one another there?
Well, that's the thing, after that conversation with Derek and Nate, after I gathered myself a little bit, I had another question I wanted to ask, and I was like, geez, who have I caught on this team? And Gibson was the only guy that I caught on the staff, is what I recall. But playing with Matt the last couple of years, and the amount of respect that I have for him and how he goes about his business, and just the player he is and the person he is, I wanted him to share that moment with me, and you know, we've become pretty close. And you know, I told him after, I said I wish I was able to play a lot more years with him, because he's about as good as they come, and I was able to share that moment with him. And you know, Chris Jimenez coming back, you know, taking my spot, I couldn't think of a better guy to do that too. You know, he's up there at the top of my list for teammates as well.
Joe, it looked like at one point you were standing at first talking to Daryl Boston, and then after he said something, you looked at the White Sox. Not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. And went like this. What was that about? Do you remember that at all?
When was that? Was I?
Between the third and fourth inning or something like that?
Oh, it was Cooper, their pitching coach. He relayed a message. He said that was really, really nice of him. And you know, he said I was one of the best left-handed hitters he saw, and that meant a lot to me. And I wanted to make sure to acknowledge him, because you know, I've had some battles with him in the White Sox for a long time, and I respect him. I have the utmost respect for him and that staff. And, that was just a signal to him, and telling him that I appreciate that.
Phil, in the front?
Joe, how big a relief was it not to take an offer on your last day? And what was that bat like? You, of course, went 3-2.
Yeah, there were some tough at bats today. You know, just with the emotions and trying to gather myself. You know, with everything that's going on in the crowd. And like I said, that meant a lot to me. And you probably saw me taking deep breaths. That's kind of my mechanism of trying to lock it in a little bit, calm myself down. So I actually thought the third at bat might be my last one, so I swung at the first pitch. You know, it took me a long time to listen to that, I guess, with all the recommendations over the years. But no. But no, you know, I'm glad I had the opportunity to go back up there, and that at bat, I felt like I was locked in, and I'm glad I was able to find the barrel.
And what made you stretch it? You didn't be out?
That's just how I play the game. You know, I saw it that he was moving a little to his left, and in a one-run game, I'm trying to get in a scoring position. So keep playing the game.
Joe, did your teammates know ahead of time, and what was it like about the catching, and what was it like there in the dugout before you took the field?
Yeah, no, we tried to keep this as tight-knit as we could. Like I said, when I first, when we first decided to kind of do it on Friday, I wanted it to be a surprise for my dad, because he kind of had the idea that he'd tell my wife, and he's like, but don't tell Joe, all this stuff. And I just thought it'd be, if the less people that knew about it, the better. And I think if I started telling people about that, I think I probably would have let more emotion out too. So just a few people knew, and a few people that were really close to me that started to kind of reveal it, but not too many.
What was that like in the dugout as you were getting ready to take the field?
It is unbelievable. So I came in after, right before I went out there, and I got my bag. Hot Rod knew, our clubhouse manager knew about it, and I brought my gear from home. I guess I'd probably tell you the story about that. So I haven't opened that bag since 2013, and I had the idea when I was done that I was going to put it in a shadow box and put it at home and display it somehow. And for whatever reason, that just didn't happen. And I knew exactly where it was, and I just never opened it. But so I picked it up. Actually, last night I opened it for the first time and put it on over my clothes and started getting emotional. But brought it in and put it in the back of my trunk, and I told Hot Rod about it. He knew before, but he went out there and grabbed it sometime during the game, and I was able to put on the gear at my locker, and that's kind of when it all came out. Was able to get out there and have that moment, and I'm just thankful that it happened that way.
Your teammate, Rosie?
Joe, how clear are you about your future plans as we sit here right now?
I mean, it's just been like I told you, like an emotional roller coaster. I'm not 100% sure. And like I said, I want to make sure I have some time just to take a deep breath and really be behind that decision. But you know, like I said, I couldn't have asked for a better last day of the 2018 season. And I'm looking forward to just taking a breath and spending some time with my girls and you know, my family, and you know, we'll go from there. But like I said, with emotions running right now, I don't want to say either way.